You are listening to Trophy Horse with your hosts, Tricky Mick, Alex, I Yield to No One,
Steve.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Trophy Horse. This is episode 328, and I'm your host, Tricky Mick. I can't even fake that. No, this is not Tricky Mick. Tricky is at work tonight, so you get me, Alex. It's my second week back on the show, and he's already dumping hosting duties on me. How do you like that? But speaking of returns, and I'm even doing segues just like Tricky now, speaking of, we have a return again this week. He brings the awesome all the time. Back from hiatus. Moved into his new house. It's I Yield to No One.
And with 2 squirrels running the wheel. So, better internet.
2 squirrels. What was running the internet wheel before?
1 retired squirrel.
Oh, I was going to guess a dead hamster.
Well, it may have been that too. But I'm back. Been a while.
He's back, and Yield and I are joined this week to form the triad. Roberto.
I did not hit her. That's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Andy. Hi, Trophy Horse. Oh, hi, Trophy Horse. I have to say it like that.
Roberto, you're becoming a pro or like a veteran trophy whore at this point because you've been on like the last, 5 or 6 episodes?
Yeah. It sounds like it. Yeah, it's going pretty good. You gotta, it's like the Geico commercials. When you play games, when you're a gamer, you play games. It's what you do.
Gamer's gonna game.
Yes, but yeah. Hi everyone, doing okay. Coming off a good couple of days. Saw the Disaster Artist on Thursday. Been following the Game Awards and also the PSX news, especially for the Vita. Got some cool stuff I got to definitely write up on the site tomorrow, but some really good observations. Been playing some good games over the last couple 2 days. So
I feel like we're in overload with all the news that we have, Game Awards and whatnot. We're in overload.
Yeah, and if you're someone who's like really dedicated to PlayStation, there might be a little bit more overload because in the last 24 hours, if you are a PlayStation Vita owner, one very revered game. Well, actually, okay, several revered games. One very revered game used to be on the DS, the Nintendo DS, is now making its way to the Vita on Tuesday. It's called Papers, Please. It's making its way to the Vita on Tuesday. Also, there's oh crap, I forgot the name of the game already. It's in my Steam library, but there's a spaceship shmup coming out for PS4. It's really, really neat. It's called Super Hydora. There's also read-only 2064 now on the Vita. There's even a Stardew Valley coming to the handheld as well. And even Square Enix is bringing back a JRPG from the SNES era for the Vita on December 15th. So it's like Christmas came a little early if you're in my neck of the woods in that regard.
And Christmas is almost here, but before we get to Christmas, we got to go over our updated trophy counts. So since Tricky is not here to host this week, I'll start with him first. He's level 33. His total trophy count is 8,423. And as we all know, he loves to brag that he has more trophies and he's a higher level than anyone else. His platinum count, though, ranks second to mine. And actually, someone else on the show is about to catch him. His platinum count is 79. I'm sitting nice and pretty at level 30. I have 6,425 total trophies, and I have 94 platinums in 93 games, which means I am the alpha male of the show. Yield, it's been a while. What's your updated trophy count?
I am still sitting at level 25, but I got 4,827 trophies and got 2 new platinums since I was last on the show. I am currently at 73.
Very nice. I believe we'll get to those platinums in what you've been playing?
Yes.
All right. Well, and we'll also do... Well, Roberto, before we get into Steve and Sid, what's your current trophy count?
All right, level 34 at 85%, 10,476, 31 platinum, 388 gold, 1,680 silver, and 8,377 bronze.
So I am mistaken. Apparently there needs to be a correction because Tricky at level 33 is not the highest. Roberto at 34 is, so suck it, Tricky. For the people in the back, suck it, Tricky.
Oh, gosh.
Alright, so Steve is level 14. He's got a total trophy count of 1,768, and he got a platinum count of 4. Apparently all that advice we gave to Steve way back when has not done him much good because he's still on 4 platinums. Steve, do work. Go to work. And lastly, we have Sid, recently newly married Sid, married man Sid. The ultimate husband is level 27. His total trophy count is 5,887, and he's got a platinum count of 78, which means he is merely one platinum trophy behind Tricky Mick. And I think we know that Sid has been banging out the platinum trophies lately, so Tricky, he gonna catch you. He gonna catch you. But before we get into our topics, before we get too off track, because we love to do that here on Trophy Whores, we got to talk about what we've been playing, and I am dying to find out what Yield's 2 new platinums are.
So, I've been playing some Everybody's Golf, been playing some Baseball Riot, Mad Max, fired up some Starhawk and was trying to knock out some of those trophies. Been playing a bunch of Rocket League. Was going through some of the, trying to get some of the DLC trophies. Played the Halloween event right before I shut the internet down and moved. So that was kind of fun. So I've been kind of getting back into some Rocket League. I've been playing some Horizon Zero Dawn, Trackmania Turbo, played some Mario Kart Double Dash. Oh, I've played a little bit of this and that I'm probably forgetting about. But
with Mario Kart Double Dash, before you go any further, did you all have like a gathering at the house, like a get together, like a housewarming kind of thing, with Homer Gets Duffed and other people to play Mario Kart?
Yes, we did. It was yesterday. The guys came over. We threw down some Mario Kart, and it was some good times.
Very nice. And your 2 new platinums?
My 2 new platinums. So I've been playing Dangerous Golf. Spoke very highly of that golf game, and I had to start over because I had something glitched in my save file. Had to start all over, but I got the platinum in that. And my other platinum was a game that I said, a few months ago that I'd get it long before Tricky did, and it looks like I did because I don't look like his platinum count has grown any. Horizon Zero Dawn.
I believe he has stated on the show that he has gotten that platinum. So you might want to check the timestamps on that, because he has actually, in fact, if you believe him, which is a dangerous game at any turn.
I knew at one time you had said, or the last time that I was on the show, you were calling malarkey that he had not gotten it, and it was not proof. So I'm basing my statement off of that statement.
Okay, well, according to Tricky, he does have the platinum. I haven't looked at his trophy count to confirm that, but he has said that he's gotten it, so it may be a close race there.
Okay, well, you know what? I'll go on PSN profiles and I'll look him up.
While Yield is looking that up, Roberto, sir, what have you been playing?
All right, here we go. So, first up, on top of my list here, is Time Recoil from 10 Tons Ltd, based out of Finland. 10 Tons Ltd is very remarked for making a lot of fun, interesting arcade games, many of which have gone on to the PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and Xbox, and all of them are making their way to the Nintendo Switch, so for any Switch owners out there, you definitely want to get on board. Time Recoil is a twin-stick time shooter with some puzzle elements. Your name is Alex. You're a woman who suddenly gets warped through time to find out that in the present day, the Earth has been completely destroyed. It all centered around a man named Mr. Time and his attack on Paris and all the cities. Traveling through time has now given you superpowers, and those superpowers are good for killing a lot of people. So your objective as part of a resistance is to go back in time to the 1970s, basically find Mr. Time and kill him. But before you do that, you have to rescue scientists, kill certain individuals, complete certain objectives. How it works is that each time you start killing a soldier, an enemy bad guy, the time powers activate, and so the objective is to finish the level and build that kill streak. Every single enemy eliminated initiates time powers, but each part of the kill streak activates a special power. So at 3 kills, you can blow through walls. At 5 kills, you can literally obliterate people, make them explode, basically like that kid in Looper and the movie Looper. And then of course, there's at 7 or 8 kills, you can literally freeze time and do all sorts of crazy stuff like Quicksilver. It's a really nice, fun game. These are the same guys that made Neon Chrome and Judge, so if you can support it, it's a very inexpensive shooter. It's also going to be making its way to the Vita for anybody who wants to get in on that. Next up, we also have a free-to-play game from Jaeger and Greybox Studios called Dreadnought. After spending several months in open beta, Dreadnought is a massive capital-class multiplayer shooter where players pilot capital ships, big vessels, so think Star Destroyers, the Starship Troopers warships, or even the USCC Sulaco, and basically pilot that and blow the crap out of each other. There is a multitude of game modes: Onslaught, Havoc mode, Team Deathmatch, Team Elimination, and of course you get to use a variety of secondary weapons, primary weapons, countermeasures, and all sorts of special attributes. So I started playing that yesterday. I've been kicking some pretty serious butt out there. You can launch missiles, you can fire plasma cannons, all sorts of stuff. The game does have microtransactions, but it's not tied to progression. It's just cosmetic. So you're free to download that, play it. There's a full trophy list, so I don't know how easy it is to get the Platinum Trophy, but that exists. And finally, 2 more. One is called Let Them Come. That's what I was playing before, coming on the air here. Let Them Come, giggity, is a rail.
You had to fucking go there, didn't you, Roberto?
Yep, had to. This is called Trophy.
This is a family show. Not a very, appropriate family show, but a family show nonetheless, damn it.
I had to. I couldn't help it. I couldn't resist. But in any case, the game is a sci-fi arcade shooter. Basically, you're the last man of your squad, and you have a mounted machine gun, so you can't move anywhere. So your objective is to let them come, the alien hordes. The game is done in an ultra pixelated style, reminiscent of early 1990s video games. It's basically you have a machine gun, you have to kill them all. You get enhanced weapons, enhanced power-ups, so you can get lasers, shot grenades, dark matter type weapons, things of that sort. I was actually trying to face the tentacle monster boss before getting here. There are boss fights in this. It is hard. I did get my tentacle whipped into my skull and my head exploded basically. So it's a brutal game, but it's a lot of fun. And then also Skyforce Reloaded. Nothing too special with that, but it is a fun game. It's a spaceship shmup. Lots of replay value. It was available on Android and iOS, and they made it for PS4. There are no microtransactions compared to the mobile version, but it is a fun shmup where you get to, fly your ship, blow up tanks and boats and airplanes and bombers and giant helicopters, all in good fun. And that's about it. There's 2 more games in there, but I'll mention them later.
All right, and last week when I came back, I kind of did this whole spiel about the games that I've been playing while I was away. I didn't talk about Horizon Zero Dawn: The Frozen Wilds, though, and I will say that I feel like that expansion added 20-plus hours to my playtime.
Oh, seriously? Wow, I'm at 100. I got 110 hours in when I got the Platinum.
I think I'm over 70 hours. So I'm not quite there, Yield, but I feel like it added a substantial amount of time. And the actual area you have to explore, it's big once you get in the world and play around, but compared to the rest of the map, it seems really small. But there's a lot of stuff to do in there, side missions, errands, the story missions. So I feel like that content is well worth it. It's more Horizon Zero Dawn. And I think that it's a fantastic extension of the story that we already have. So I think Guerrilla Games deserves praise yet again for creating a fantastic expansion that is well worth your money and a great addition to the Horizon Zero Dawn universe. And I've also been playing, I mentioned this last week, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. I finished it the other night, I believe.
How was that? I picked that up over Black Friday for $20.
So I finished it on Thursday. I'm doing my crushing mode playthrough right now because to get 1 trophy, you have to beat it on crushing. So it is... I bought it too for Black Friday, Yield, at $20, so we are one of the same mind there. It's really good. One of the best things, Chloe Fraser, she was always kind of people liked her in Uncharted 2, but I don't think, there was always this tinge of her that was kind of anti-hero, and that maybe there was something underlying, a darker side that you shouldn't like. But I think you see in this that she's very likable, and a reason why we all kind of she grew on us in Uncharted 2. And so, Chloe and Nadine, like, they, again, are, great characters. I don't think Asav, who is the main villain in this, I don't think he's as, say, good as Lazarevich or as detestable as Lazarevich, but he does do some underhanded shit. So, I mean, like, they do, once again, the characters really well. You want to get to see the bad guy get his comeuppance, and you come to like Chloe more. So that's all really fun and good. For me, like one of the best things about this game, I love the hunting down the treasures, the exploration, the platforming in Uncharted, and I even like the gunplay. I think the gunplay is fun too. But for me, like a lot of the set pieces in this game, like the environments, the locations, like that's the highlights. And you also get like a photo mode in this game, a la Horizon Zero Dawn. Although in this game, the one that Naughty Dog's put in this game is far more advanced than the one you got in Deep, the one you got in Horizon Zero Dawn. So, like, I sat there for, like, minutes on end just taking pictures of the same scene or finding the best angle of, like, a certain statue or, like, Chloe in front of this vista or this, like, waterfall or canyon. So the game is beautiful. There's a lot of great set pieces in there. The characters are really good. The gameplay is really fun. And it's actually, I feel like I topped out. I finished the game in about 11 hours. So I'm not going to say how many I was about to say how many chapters there are, but that might be, when you get to that last chapter, it might be giving it away. But the game is substantial. You may see the price tag at $40, and it's like, okay, well, this is going to be a smaller game, but it's, it's an 11-hour game, and you're going to want to play again to get all the treasures, to beat on crushing, so, at least 11 hours for your playtime.
Well, that's on par with all the other Uncharted games.
Yeah, but to answer your question, Yield, it is a very fun game, and it's a great experience, and it's one that you just keep pushing forward through because you just want to see what happens.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, we have just had an avalanche of news, not just the Game Awards, but PSX, the PlayStation Experience 2017, and one of the announcements that kind of hits at nostalgia to come from that show was the fact that Sir Daniel and Medieval are coming to the PlayStation 4 via a remaster. When I first saw this news, I thought maybe they were going to do a new game, but this is in fact a remake of or a remaster of the game that launched on the PlayStation in 1998. So this is old school, but, we saw Sir Daniel in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. So, I mean, we have clearly seen that, Sony is bringing back a lot of characters from the past. I believe Parappa the Rapper has seen a new release in recent years. So, like, clearly, like, they still can dig from their deep library of characters and bring them back every once in a while, even if it's just a remaster. So, guys, did either of you play Medieval when you were younger? I unfortunately did not.
Yeah, regrettably,
no.
no.
I missed on that.
Well, do you feel like that, having another remaster is a bad thing, or do you think that this is a case where a lot of people, even our age, didn't play Medieval because, you had, at this point in time, it was still PlayStation versus Nintendo 64. Maybe a lot of people didn't have their allegiance to PlayStation until PS2 or PS3. I mean, does it seem like a good idea to bring this type of game back and let people who haven't experienced it play it again? Or play it for the first time, I should say?
I've never had a problem with anything like that because, like I've stated before, I missed out on Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper because it was at that time in my gaming development where I'm like, oh, those look too kiddish, and I'm past that. So I was going for the more mature games, so to speak. And then when those came out and, you guys have spoken so highly of it, I was like, you know what, maybe I should play it. And I did, and I realized that how much I missed out on such an awesome set of games. So I would have to pay a little bit more attention to some more of the trailers. The one that was shown in the link was just more of an announcement trailer. It didn't show any of the remastered gameplay. So it would be something I'd be interested in.
Okay, Roberto, is this something you're interested in? I mean, a lot of times when we hear from you, it seems like you're playing a lot of smaller, like lesser-known games, kind of more niche games. But Medieval, obviously, this is something that speaks to a larger crowd. Is this something you're interested in?
Oh, absolutely. PlayStation has an extremely rich history back in the 90s for bringing forth content that we are still talking about to this day that is very beloved and treasured in our hearts. Like that's the thing about the 90s. It was a time where people really were working hard to make the game good, to really focus on what would make a good game. it was a wild west at that point, especially for 3D gaming, and these guys thought of all sorts of imaginative and crazy ways to bring their game forth. And personally, I grew up on, of course, games like Colony Wars, G-Police, Twisted Metal, along with Metal Gear Solid, Air Combat, Disney's Magical Racing Tour. I admit to playing that. A couple other ones out there. Spyro, can't forget Spyro, and Crash. So with Medieval, I did not play this. I don't know, maybe it was just perhaps like at the time I was very fascinated by spaceships and instant action games. I didn't think that maybe perhaps playing something like that was going to really work. Like, I was the kind of guy who chose the Reboot game. There was a video game based off the TV series Reboot than Medieval. So, but it was always there. Medieval was always there on the store shelves. I saw it and I was like, I'm not too into it. So to see this is fantastic, because to me, I think that games are a piece of history. Every one of them, the good ones, the bad ones, the ones that we debate if they're good or bad, they all tell a story of someone who had an idea to fight the battles that nobody ever could. Okay, I couldn't help it. Had to go with Avengers there. But anyway.
Infinity War reference number 1.
Yes. It's these people had the idea to say, what is a game that people would want to play? What is a game that would bring people to get this system, to want to spend time, to be immersed into it, to really get into this world and react to it and explore to it and really be like become the hero? Like what game, like how would I design a game like that? And I think that Medieval, along with many others, exemplify that. So this is great for those that missed out on it. You know, I was one of the lucky bastards that had an N64 and a PS1. There's some people who only had an N64, or maybe they had a PS1, but like, you know, they can only get like 1 or 2 games every now and then. So this is fantastic. And I do hope it does give hope that they will resurrect other franchises. If people support this, maybe PlayStation will go and resurrect. I mean, I said it last week, Siphon Filter, or
God, I hope so.
Oh yeah. See, so
I think Yield just shit himself with excitement.
Yeah,
no, I was saying for the longest time until Ben came out and was announcing Days Gone, I thought that's what they were working on. They were working on either a remastered or a rebooted Siphon Filter for this generation, because I think that would work really well in this generation.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then when they did Days Gone, I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm totally fine with that, but I'm still holding out hope for that Siphon Filter reboot.
Right. Because as I mentioned last week, like it was a story with that particular franchise of games. It was a story that was like HBO's Homeland, Air Force One, The West Wing, 24, and the movie Executive Decision with Kurt Russell, all wrapped in a very solid third-person shooter that was action-packed, it was intense, and it was also a little silly. Like, you could literally tase people till they lit on a fire. Don't tase me, bro. So, like, it was...
Love it.
It was just the right thing. Oh, and then another movie you mentioned, Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman. That's a really good one to watch if you can. But in any case, so this gives hope. I mean, you know, like, we are in an age now of remasters, and a lot of people are starting to reactivate their older IPs, which I think is great. I mean, Mega Man is a perfect example, which we'll get to in a moment. We also have the fact that...
Don't go ruin surprises, damn it, Roberto.
Okay. Also...
fourth wall!
Also, Square Enix mentioned about bringing back some of its franchises with Final Fantasy and maybe other stuff that Square has up its sleeve that we don't know yet. So, those are things to consider there.
You know, and I will say this, I did not know that I wanted a Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy until we got Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy.
Yeah,
and we all know how much fun I had with that, plus Shadow of the Colossus. You know, they did a remaster for the PlayStation 3, and they're doing another one for the PS4, and bring it the fuck on, that's what I have to say, because I'm buying that game, and I'm playing it.
And Crash and Insane Trilogy was a perfect example of where gamers' mentalities are now in the culture. Like, I didn't expect it to be I expected it to be like a great trilogy. I mean, I'm still working on it, but I'm still playing the first game, but it's very good. But the sales went through the absolute roof, especially in the UK. And it's enough to where people were like, whoa, there's a lot of diehard, not just Crash fans or game fans, but just people who feel very connected to some of these franchises. Even the Wipeout Omega Collection, which came out this year, was actually pretty good too. So just to put things into perspective there, yeah. So definitely I hope we get to see more. If when the game comes out, hopefully it's really good. In that case, I'm going to encourage everybody to support these guys so we can try and get more of these IPs resurrected.
Most definitely. And, we talked a little bit about Shadow of the Colossus, or I mentioned Shadow of the Colossus, and the remake that they're doing, or the remaster, I should say. I keep getting those two words mixed in my dialogue. The remaster that they're putting out next year. But there was also an announcement at PSX about The Last Guardian, which was also another Team Ico, Sony Japan Studio property. Actually came out last December, so it's about a year old. How that's actually going to be a PSVR experience starting December 12th. And I take this from an article on IGN. There will be a PlayStation VR experience for The Last Guardian that lasts about 15 to 20 minutes, where Trico is a standalone. The people will be able to interact with Trico in a standalone experience available for free on the PlayStation Store. So you can download that on starting December 12th, and you do not need to own The Last Guardian in order to download this game and have some fun with Trico for about 15 to 20 minutes. So they've also announced that the Wipeout Omega Collection, which Roberto just mentioned, is going to be coming to PSVR, which, I've played quite a bit of Wipeout in the past, and those games are really fast cars. And it seems like that's a VR game I don't necessarily want to play because it would make me dizzy and make me feel kind of sick.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a very, very blisteringly fast 60 frames per second, 1080p, 4K, hyper-futuristic racer that basically blazed the trail for all futuristic racers later on, like Redout from 34 Big Productions, and this new game that just got announced called Anti-Gravitator, which is actually coming out early next year in 2018. So the VR component might be a little bit strange. There's another futuristic racer game that actually uses the VR very well called Radial G. It's on the PS4 right now. Kind of think of the two levels from F-Zero X, and that's kind of what the game is. It's actually pretty good. But in any case, yeah, it might be a little bit overly ambitious. It's what I think of when I think of the fact that they're doing a VR update for Zone of the Enders. And how the hell are you going to be slicing mechs at the speed of sound with that headset on? I have no idea. It could probably work. But with Wipeout, it could probably work, but I don't know.
Yeah, Wipeout, I will say, if you've never played Wipeout before, it's blisteringly fast, as Roberto mentioned, but it's a hard racing game. Like, it's really hard to... For me, it's hard to, at that speed, to control the car.
Bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, bouncing off the walls, ping-ponging off the walls, bumper cars. It's hard to anticipate the moves you have to make. So that's always been a franchise. I mean, admittedly, for me, that's kind of been a deterrent from playing the games, because it's just so hard for me to control the game. So I can only imagine what it's going to be like in VR.
Right, and then be thankful that you can bounce off the walls, because the originals, if you so much as just if your wing so much as dents the wall, like a little bit of a graze, it just stops your craft dead, stops right to zero, which is just a critical loss if you're in the middle of a race and you're like in first place. Like, it just so much as just bumping into the wall just stops your craft cold in its tracks. There are weapons, by the way, but you gotta get lucky because like they have, I think, the earthquake weapon, and that like wipes everybody out. But
good luck actually aiming weapons and trying to figure out what your next move is going to be as far as turning and dodging and stuff.
Yeah, the plasma.
But in the Wipeout games, like, you collect enough damage, and if you get enough damage on your car, like, it knocks you out of the race, right? Or it can like destroy your car.
I believe so. I admit that I haven't played that yet, but I will eventually one of these days.
Yeah, I remember. I believe I remember. Well, as I remember it, if you hit the wall too many times, you do a severe amount of damage to your car, which hinders your ability to win the race. So, which I think would signal destruction. But yeah, I mean, the Wipeout games, they're fun, but they're also really like unforgiving racing games. So you have to be super talented at kind of arcade racing.
Yes.
In order to. And I've played my fair share of Split Second and Blur and MotorStorm, and I'm pretty good at all those. And Wipeout was something I was never good at.
No, you have to be very precise in that game. Every lap.
Make every move count. just like people had to make every move count in Bloodborne. Now, we're not saying there's a sequel coming, but a lot of people think, based on From Software teasing their next project at the Game Awards, that they're making Bloodborne 2. Again, I want to say this before everyone shits their pants with excitement and then blames me when it doesn't come true, because I didn't say that. But people believe that From Software is teasing Bloodborne 2, but they're definitely coming out with a new game. But is it Bloodborne 2? We don't know. And I don't believe... I'm going to go ahead and say that I don't think you had played Bloodborne. I did not either. Roberto.
I did not play Bloodborne. It's definitely on my backlog. I'm kind of waiting to find that Game of the Year edition on sale so I can play that. However, there was a couple of blips on the radar that I was checking, and the tagline, Shadows Die Twice, is a tagline referenced very much so in the legendary Tenchu series, leading many to believe this may not be a Bloodborne sequel, but instead a Tenchu game. Now, from what I never played any of the Tenchu games, but from what I understand, they are very, very revered stealth action video games. They kind of like, I don't know, I think they start back from the PlayStation days and kind of helped refine the stealth action genre for other games to take inspiration from. And as a matter of fact, I just picked up a game that I think is in that essence. It's actually from Namco Bandai too, called Shinobito. It's actually a Vita. I don't believe it's on the PS4 or PS3, but I got it on the Vita, and it's a launch title. It came out in 2012, and it's not even listed on the PlayStation Network store, so I can't find out too much about it, other than that it's a stealth action game where you're a ninja, and you use like ninja-type gadgets, all sorts of stuff. And, of course, you got your katana, and your objective is to really sneak behind and eliminate your targets. I mean, if you had to go toe-to-toe in combat, you can, but the idea is to use stealth action and things of that sort. The Tenchu was actually, it's inspired a game called Origami, which came out last year, which was an amazing cel-shaded stealth action game in the spirit of Tenchu. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be interesting to see if the Dark Souls-like game genre, if that continues, with the fact that Dark Souls 3 marks the end of the franchise as we know it. And I don't know if they're going to go into a sequel for Bloodborne right now. Maybe they want to wait for the oceans to clear and then wait for people to really crave that genre again before going into making a sequel.
The Dark Souls games and the Demon Souls games, like that entire franchise or line of games, has never appealed to me. I like challenge, but I don't know. Like, I just see those games and I'm just like, nope. Like, it just seems like, at least the first game was Demon Souls, and it seems like that game was just made for you to frustrate you and make you lose.
Yeah, it's tough because it's difficulty is a matter of finding that balance of being hard, but then of course giving you that essence of one more time. Maybe I lost, but I know what I did wrong. I know what I have to do. I just have to keep working at it. And then just, of course, after all that, the sweet, satisfying element of victory. Whereas the Souls games, the Bloodborne games, can be turn-offs because these games, they kill you the moment the moment you install the game. It kills you. It's just the disc flies out of the console and just decapitates you. That's like how brutal these games apparently are.
It's like real life Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, like masochistic, sadistic type of design. But at the same time, it can be referred to that maybe perhaps it did introduce the idea of difficulty setting back into the world of games. And the fact at the time when Demon Souls had come out in 2009, a lot of games were auto aim, auto heal, auto this, auto that. I mean, sure, there was the rare exceptions like BioShock where there's a book where you don't just auto heal, you have to get the health packs. But then there was just the fact that many of the big games were just maybe they held your hand too much. So this was a game that didn't hold your hand and stabs you really on sight. So, but yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I'm going to hold firm to the fact that it is a Tenchu or types thing, because of the fact that if you look at that teaser again, beyond the bloody sword hilt, you'll see Japanese writing in the back. Like inky, bloody Japanese writing, and I don't remember the website. I think it was Dual Shockers or PlayStation Lifestyle that highlighted and compared the Japanese writing to another game. I think to one of the Tenchu games, and that's how they were able to find out what was. They were able to find out what give reason to believe if that was a Tenchu game, perhaps. But yeah, that's my observations there.
Yeah, apparently in Demon Souls, game fatality you. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's quite a legacy that game's gonna be leaving behind too, with the fact that the servers are shutting down. We covered that last week. So, like I said, I think that with this franchise inspired a lot of games in terms of difficulty and movement. There was actually there was actually, let me see if I can pull it up on my PlayStation 4 here. There was another game that was actually in the spirit of that was not as dark and bloody, but still pretty intense. Let me see if I can find it. Hang on. It began with an N, and I played it at PAX. Where is it? Okay, Numantia, Neptune, Twin Robots, The Surge, Eve Valkyrie.
I'm just going to go ahead and throw out Neo.
It was Necro something. Oh my god. I don't remember the name of the game. But it was actually really good because it took the spirit of Dark Souls and Demon Souls, and it was done in like a polygonal, not polygonal, but like a cel-shaded sense, and it wasn't as bloody and stuff like that. So it was pretty good. We can move on to the next topic, and then I'll be able to pull it up. I mean, I can try for just 30 more seconds. Oh my god, it wasn't. I want to say it was called Necro Barista, but that's not. But it isn't, because Necro Barista is actually a visual novel game.
So I'm gonna throw this out there real quick, Roberto, while you're doing some fast research.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if From Software moved on from Dark Souls and Demon Souls, and instead of doing Bloodborne, went to like this, like cel shaded, like super happy anthropomorphic platformer, a la like Banjo-Kazooie or Sly Cooper or Ratchet and Clank, like just something completely like opposite of what they have done. Or, perhaps even better, like what Guerrilla Games did when jumping from Killzone to Horizon. Like, I would actually want to see that. I want to see them do something almost completely opposite of what they have been doing.
Well, like, I'd have to say that right now, we really need more cyberpunk stories. We could use more anthropomorphic stories. I know people get a little bit creeped out with the word anthro because you think of the furry fandoms and things like that. But I'll tell you that it's a very creative fandom, and like if you really can turn that into a game, like that's really good. There's actually a guy that I'm following, and he goes to all those conventions, and he's actually building a visual novel. I forgot the name of it, but he's really dedicated to that. And okay, still working forward to getting that game. But anyway, we could definitely use more of those kind of realized worlds. Like I said, a couple weeks ago, you heard me play. I was playing Valhalla, and it's a visual novel. But what I liked about the game is it really is a very unique, very bright kind of a setting, despite the dystopic city situation. It's a game that you have all sorts of different characters. You have an android who's a sex worker. You have another one who is like a diva. You've got a hacker. And then, of course, you've got like a law enforcement white knight or Valkyrie Valkyrie soldier that works in there. And you got like all these conversations going on. It's very cool conversations, nothing complicated, nothing intense, nothing violent or imminent, just, how life is in this dystopic city. And I would love to see more of that in games. Day X doesn't have to be the only game in that genre. It can be just about any game out there, whether it's an FPS, an RPG, a turn-based RPG, just to maneuver what you can do in that setting. Even like on Tuesday, I was playing a game that came out a few years ago called Frozen Synapse Prime. It was a kind of a combination between a turn-based and a real-time strategy game where you're maneuvering your soldiers in this and basically in setups and buildings to try and fight back and take back the city. And while there's no voice acting, the fact that it takes place in this cool futuristic city, and the fact that there's all this stuff going on with every in the city from college students to politicians, and it's up to you to kind of figure things out. I think that it's really neat just to see it come forward and see it come to fruition. So I would love to see that. But like you said, with the anthropomorphized stuff, I would love to see more of it. I mean, I think, for example, Nintendo is missing out on a massive opportunity to create a an Elite Dangerous inspired Star Fox game. I mean, you're talking about a universe where a bunch of anthropomorphized creatures are shooting each other in spaceships. Why haven't we had Elite Dangerous with Star Fox? Why haven't we had more of that, or more of that realized? I feel that's a missed opportunity, just because you can just do different things, and it's cool to have a good fantasy, or a cool fantasy where you have, anthropomorphized creatures just doing things and living like humans, but they're animals. So, it's a very weird, but that's another fresh ocean there to dive into. And anyway, so
yes. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and stop you there because we got something serious to talk about.
Oh, by the way, last thought. So I found the game. It's called Necropolis. It's like Demon and Dark Souls, but it's done in a polygonal texture type thing. It's not as hard as Dark Souls, but it's something good if you've been on the fence about that. It's a little colorful too. So there we go. I just wanted to get that thought out. Okay, we're good.
It's funny that you're talking about Necropolis and Demon Souls and the Dead, because we're getting ready to switch to a topic that is just as unpleasant, and that's the undead, because it has been revealed at the Game Awards that World War Z, which, that Paramount movie starring the hunky Brad Pitt, is getting a video game. So it's going to be a 4-player co-op game, and take this from IGN. It features survivor stories from around the world, including New York, Moscow, and Jerusalem. And let's be honest, if you've seen World War Z, you know how awesome and terrifying the scene in Jerusalem is, as well as how terrifying the scene is on the airplane. I think those are the two best scenes in the movie. Certainly breathtaking, heart-stopping action. But yeah, so World War Z is getting a video game. It's going to be a co-op game. Now, I am admittedly, ready to shrug off any zombie game, because quite frankly, we've had Left 4 Dead, we've had the co-op zombie shooter. I know that this is based on another property, but quite frankly, have we not done zombie shooters to death? I mean, there's a zombie mode in war games like Call of Duty and such, and I just feel like we've gone way beyond. We had our fill of vampires after the Twilight series, and I feel like we've recognized that we've had our fill of zombies, but yet it never stops. It's never going to stop, because The Walking Dead is still a thing. They're going to do a crossover with Fear the Walking Dead, and, we're getting a World War Z game. It's just past the point of saturation where it's have we now gone back to a point where people now want more zombie games after being filled with too many zombie games before?
Only the sales will tell, because you still got Days Gone coming out. Probably early next year, and now you've got World War Z. So,
and I think that it's a matter of, it's never the genre; it's how you do it. I mean, sure, there's some good zombie games. There's bad zombie games. I got a game called Viking Zombies. Haven't played it yet, but it's zombies with Vikings, and the fact that I guess you're going to be fighting the undead as the undead. And then, of course, you get, not so good zombie games that, just kind of just slap on the whole of a zombie thing and just take advantage of it. And I think that World War Z is a little different because it's on a global scale. It's not just isolated to a bunch of people who get lost in the woods and they have nothing to do and they don't know how they're going to take care of this whole situation. It's on a global scale. And I did see the movie, and I very much enjoyed it, with the fact that it did deal with things of not just the fact that there's zombies taking over the world, but the fact that nature is a very perfectly evolved killing machine, and just somehow it evolved this virus that infected people and turned them into crazed zombies, which quickly spread to other people. And they had to figure out how to not just figure out the zombie apocalypse, but also how to research this on a microbiological level. And I won't spoil it because I think the movie's still fresh, and it's definitely worth watching if you haven't seen it yet. So
I think for this game, but more important than anything, I mean, the gameplay is important, but I think the story, if anything, is going to carry this game through.
Well, and being co-op, it's got to work. It's got to work well with being a co-op game. I mean, you got to have a good story, but if you can't couch co-op or be able to hook up online and it work well, it'll just get that, it's another zombie game title.
Right. I think that definitely the story has to be very distinct. It has to be like, what will set this apart from, let's say, the Walking Dead video games? Not that it's going to be... of course, it will be the fact that it's going to be more of an action type of deal. It's not going to be just a telltale, you make choices and the choices stick with you type deal. But what is going to... But considering that this is on a global scale, and you're going to be going to all sorts of like terrifying locations where the zombies have festered, what is going to set it apart? So hopefully the combat is going to be pretty neat. Maybe it'll involve different ideas that could be involved if you are a part of the military trying to take care of the situation. It could also involve what kind of, like, if there's going to be perks, if there's going to be buffs, if there's going to be different classes, is there going to be maybe like a futuristic style put onto it? Maybe are you going to get like an exosuit? So those are some ideas that might be spinning around right now. As the game continues to churn in development, it's going to be like I think that's what's going to really set the game apart from just every other zombie shooter. Worth noting, just on a similar note, a game did come out of left field, and I don't know if it's good or not. There's actually a Planet of the Apes video game currently available on PlayStation 4 that I think takes place after the last movie. So I don't know much about that one, but just throwing that out there.
All right, well, it seems like the zombie craze, just like the zombie themselves, cannot be killed, and we are due for zombie game after zombie TV show after zombie movie. I mean, I guess if the sales are there, keep going for it. But yeah, I mean, like, this is just... Admittedly, this is one game I can't get excited for. But if they do it well and they make a good story, then I hope it sells well. Because, anything that they put the effort into and have a good story for, I can definitely support, at least with my... I kind of box myself in a corner here with my support. That makes very little sense, but I hope you all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on it because I am always a fan of the couch co-op games. And I feel that it's starting to become like a dying genre. Games that you can, hook up online with your friends. And I'll point out Ratchet and Clank All for One, where everybody could get together and play together, on a level, or play together, couch co-op. And I like that for when, you got some friends over to sit down. Hey, let's play this game together. So I'm hoping it works just for that aspect.
Yeah, and on that note, I will say that in this age of multiplayer and everything, I hope that no one loses sight that couch co-op is still a very good thing to have in your game. It's still a very viable thing for every single person out there with siblings, friends, in dorm rooms, college apartments, or even just partying get-togethers. The other day, I actually had some friends over, and we were playing a bunch of games. Like, I played JS Stars Plus, which is the Super Smash Brothers, but with anime, and then also I played Judge and a couple of other games, and it was just great to have another player in the same room as me playing alongside. That hasn't happened in a long time, not really since my college days. So I would like to say that if they do go and pursue this, yes, definitely throw in split screen zombie co-op. Definitely make sure that there's an online community if they're going to make it online. Just get that togetherness thing going. Especially, like, of note is the fact that we haven't had a Left 4 Dead 3, and I don't think it's going to happen, ever. So, maybe, I'm not saying that it's going to fill the void, but, like I said, if it's done right, it could.
Yeah, Left 4 Dead 3, I think that's something that they did Left 4 Dead 2, and it's been such a long time since Left 4 Dead 2 that I think that they're kind of leaving that one as is. Maybe, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like there's such a saturation of zombies that someone like Valve would want to go to something else and show their abilities off somewhere else. So
right, well, they kind of are. They're making some kind of like card game with microtransactions. I forgot what it was called. Yeah, I think Gabe Newell had unveiled it over the summer or something. Like one of those weird like Hearthstone type things. I'm not too sure.
Not Boo the card game. Boo microtransactions.
Yeah, that one of those things. But then, of course, like Valve, I don't know. I think we're gonna get some. We'll have to wait and see because remember, one of the biggest myths that was debunked in 2017 was that one of the writers wrote how Half-Life would have ended, but he changed the names to avoid copyright DMC takedown, and he uploaded that online. So it's like probably indicative of that. Maybe Valve is just literally just Steam now at this point.
yeah, and it seems like right now on this agenda we're in like a block of horror games because the next game that we need to talk about, or the next franchise we need to talk about, is Outlast. And it's been confirmed by Red Barrels that Outlast 3 is going to be made and released at some point. They don't really have a release date, but they've just confirmed that they're going to make it. And they announced that the franchise is going to be coming to Switch in the first quarter of 2018. Additionally, they are making a brand new project in the Outlast universe, which is not a direct sequel to either Outlast or Outlast 2. So, Outlast 3, franchise is coming to the Switch, and we're getting a new game in the Outlast universe, which is not a direct sequel to the previous games. So if you like Outlast, there's a ton of shit coming your way. And I know it was on sale, I believe, for the Halloween, one of the Halloween sales, the weeks that they did that, and never played Outlast, didn't pick it up. Please tell me, I think I know Yield well enough now to know that this is not a game that he has played. Yield, am I correct in my assumption there? We've been recording way too long together.
You are
I can guess
correct.
which games you have played and which games you have not.
Yes, we have.
It's almost like we're housemates, but we're like hundreds of miles away.
Yes, you are.
Weird connection. Roberto, there is nothing awkward about man love.
Awkward.
Yes. I have not played Outlast either. Right. There is nothing. It's called
You haven't played it either? Wow. We're batting 1,000 for games none of us have played tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I've been meaning to. I just haven't gotten around to it. I was gonna and plus the other thing is the hard drive space. I think Tricky mentioned about getting some kind of an HDD expander or something for $100, but I don't know where, and I just want to do my homework before I get one.
I love how none of us have played really any of these games, but yet we can somehow manage to talk a shitstorm up about everything. That's yes. We can it's like the kids who could bullshit their way through an essay test in high school. That's what we're doing right now. We are pros at bullshitting.
Oh my god, yeah. That's or like how people can eat and not gain any weight, but you so much as think as food and you gain 5 pounds. Like people that are out there, you have no idea how fortunate and lucky you are. You are blessed by the gods themselves. By
the gods. Maybe the Olympians?
Yeah.
Well, I think we've outlasted this topic.
Yeah. But any case, yeah. I mean, that's definitely something I'm hoping to get a hold of. Like I said, I just need to get that external HDD drive or something from somewhere, and just hopefully it doesn't break my system. But because I'm already banking I have a 2 terabyte hard drive that I upgraded shortly after I got the PS4, and I'm already I have this annoying thing, and I'm sure everyone can agree with me. It you install stuff, right? And then there's 100 gigs left, and it will not install anything after those 100 gigs. It refuses to do that. And it's terribly annoying. I don't know how to deactivate that if I can.
No. I still buy everything physical.
Yeah, same here. So it's just but once if you install something that's say 10 gigs and you have 101 gigs left in your hard drive, it will not do it. It'll say there's not enough data left on the hard drive. And it's there is.
Not that
Does Sony still do that thing where you gotta double install it? Because remember, they had that with the 3. You know, if it said the game was 20 gigs, you really needed 40.
That depends. I mean, I know what you're cutting out because that used to happen on the PS3. I think they still have some issues because, for example, 2064 read-only memories just came out surprisingly on the Vita yesterday, and the game is, I think, actually 2 gigs, but the download rate, or at least that's what was listed, but the download was actually 1,300 megabytes, something like that. So, I think there's still a little bit of this is something there with that. It depends also because like the other thing they don't factor in is just the updates. So, like especially
certainly not on Yield's
Destiny
internet
for the first time. Oh man, you're not playing that right away. So,
sir, you have to have
consider.
4 hamsters.
Yeah.
Was it hamsters? You
Well,
said
now maybe.
you got to have 4 hamsters and a thoroughbred horse pulling that wheel.
Yeah.
It's all right. You come to Kentucky, we've got all the thoroughbreds you need.
Oh well, no, sorry.
Nice. Or just anytime you want to just come down and play
That's
some
true.
Mario Kart.
If I ever want to play Destiny, I'll be down there.
Well, I was gonna recommend. There's a kid somewhere who I think converted a bus to run on McDonald's French fry oil so many years ago, and now he has a car that can start up on that. So maybe
you need to dump coffee on your
like
console. Maybe that'll help.
Maybe your internet just needs
Caffeine.
McDonald's
French fry oil?
Don't fucking do that. No one throw coffee on their game console.
Yeah, caffeine.
I don't want angry letters about that shit.
Cafefe.
Yeah. Well, for anyone who was angry about DMC, the remake by Ninja Theory,
We're in the
or the, I guess I should say the reboot of the beloved Capcom franchise. If you bitched about that, well, you will be happy to know that the Devil May Cry HD collection is coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC on March 13th, 2018, so you can go back and play Dante's Adventures as the Dante of your dreams. So.
And, yeah, okay, so I'm glad that's happening, but I don't know about you guys, but DMC 2013 was awesome. The Ninja Theory one. That shit was great. I really had a great time with it, and it's just, you have to be in another mentality to just take a game that looks so good and played so well, but be so bitter because of the character design that you not only refuse to play the game, you continuously send threats and stuff to the studio. As a matter of fact, if you want to look this up right now on Game Informer, when the game came out, there was actually a petition that was signed, but not on Change.org. No, that didn't really happen yet. I'm talking the United States government. That's right, Game Informer on launch day discovered a petition sent on whitehouse.gov to the Obama administration condemning Devil May Cry 2013 from Ninja Theory, saying that it was very anti-consumerist and not fair to the American consumer. By the time it got taken down off of the whitehouse.gov, it had accumulated 47 signatures. To know that there's a human being who decided to ignore everything happening in the world and write up this big petition to tell President Obama and Joe Biden to stop the sale of 2013 Devil May Cry is to describe,
instead of looking at it as they took the
which
time to do that,
humans,
let's look at the point that they don't
have a
understand
future or something.
on a basic level how our government works and the powers of our executive office, as well as how our economic system works. Like, how about that? Although, let's be honest, if that's one of your priorities in the world is bitching about Ninja Theory's DMC, which, by the way, I will say again and again, is a fantastic game.
Yeah,
it's fun. It plays
exactly.
really well. It's exciting. Like, it's great. So if that's what you have to do with your time, if that's your foremost concern, there's probably a lot worse things you could be doing with your time. So maybe we want you to sit in your house and on your computer typing away and staying just the fuck away from the rest of us. Because, listeners, there is one thing that I have a very little patience for.
If you have a lot of time to do that, you don't have time for drugs.
It annoys me. It offends me to my deepest sense. Like, it is... I can't fucking deal with it. I can't. So.
Yeah. Right. It's yeah. But on that note, well, it's good that they're bringing back the original 3. Just keep in mind that number 2 is widely regarded as the worst sequel of all time, or one of the worst sequels of all time. For reasons I never played the sequel, so I have no idea. But so just keep that in mind if you are playing this for the first time. Do not get discouraged by number 2, because number 2 apparently is regarded as one of the worst video game sequels. Yeah. Number 3 redeemed it. Number 4 set things back.
So it seems like, from what you're saying,
Roberto,
it
wasn't great, but it
is
wasn't
that
bad.
DMC
Then there was 2013
on the list
DMC.
of actual
Then
good Devil
we
May
have not
Cry
had
games
a
ranks
Devil May Cry
towards
game
the
since.
top, because 2 was a flaming turd, and then 4 wasn't that great. So you had 1 and 3 which were good, but out of 4 games, 50% ain't that great. Even in the American school system, that's failing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those guys that, like, I admit, when I play games, I'm not very critical. Like, a game has to be fundamentally outright
broken.
Yeah, for me to, like, be pissed at it. There was actually, and I've encountered those. There was a game that I played on the PSP. It was like a PSP Mini. It was like a Grand Theft Auto knockoff. And it's like, when you turn your PSP on standby, you fail the mission. And I was like, I can't play this. I can't believe I wasted $2 or $3 just on this game. This sucks. So, there's that, and so there's games that do exist. There's even a PlayStation 4 game called Yorby Paybacks of Bolts, and I wish to God I did not spend money on that. It looked like it was a third person, like, robot shooter. It looked kind of cool, and that game sucked. I still wish to this day I did not have the motivation to buy that game. That's $3 I could have spent on coffee. But in any case, I'm sure the sequel isn't that bad, but it critically was widely regarded as one of the worst sequels ever. And also was the fact that number 3 kind of redeemed a couple things, but it was a prequel. And then number 4 had good action and shooting, but the game had one of the most redundant level designs. I saw a review about it. So you go through all these levels and in this castle and stuff. I think that's Dante, to get this other character. And then you get to the other character in this castle, I think, and then you fight him, and then for the rest of the game you're this other character. And then you backtrack through the entire game back to all the zones that you went through as this other character. And it just it breaks people's brains.
Sorry,
it's
yeah.
Just how, like,
Fuck,
it doesn't make any sense.
Something I was gonna say, but yeah.
Yeah. So, but then with DMC, like, just to reminiscing on that, the game had a fantastic presentation, a great combination between Kami Christ and Noisa for music. I bought the soundtrack. I still listen to the soundtracks when I go to the gym. The visuals were absolutely incredible. One of my favorite parts in that game was you're facing the newscaster. There's a newscaster in the game who, in the real world, he's a human, and he's basically Fox News. He's like, I'm just doing God's work. I'm just doing God's work. Like, reporting on, like, taking down rebels and all that. But then in the demon world, he's a demon, but he's like a digital information demon. So you're fighting in a level that's made out of all those, like, news ticker tape things and colors, and he's just a giant viral head in the middle with images and pictures and all that stuff, and you have to, like, he sends, like, waves of information at you, and you have to fight him. And it's still, to me, one of the best and coolest boss fights. I still remember that, and definitely in the game, like, the whole game has great boss fights. So it was just a very well realized game. And once again, I would recommend that. So there is a definitive edition that's available right now at GameStop. You can probably get for like $20 for PS4 and Xbox One, and I'd highly recommend that because it actually has 60 frames per second gameplay, and also a bunch of new features that weren't featured in the PS3 release, including Nightmare Mode. So if you get hit once, you're dead. for anybody who's willing to give that a try.
Yeah. Well, folks, I think the theme of this show, and especially of the Game Awards and PSX, is remaster, 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 sequel, 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 because it has been revealed that Tomb Raider is getting yet another game.
Which I'm fine with that.
New Tomb Raider game.
I'm fine with that. The Tomb Raider reboot was absolutely amazing. And I have the second one in my backlog to play.
Okay. Well, I mean, I started the Tomb Raider reboot, and I liked what I played. I got maybe an hour into it and just didn't play anymore.
You should. It's so amazing.
Yeah. Well, Yield, I have a very small backlog, but that is unfortunately one that has been buried for quite some time. So yeah, so we are basically getting teased with there's a new game coming, but the reveal will not happen until a major event in 2018. So Square Enix is keeping very mum on that. But of course they, Rise of the Tomb Raider, both very well received, and the series as a whole has always been a favorite of PlayStation owners. So quite frankly, I think that this is very welcome, even though it's yet another sequel and kind of indicative of how the industry is as a whole these days, where you find something and it works.
You stick to
it.
It
works. And it works. And it works until you break everything. But until that happens, the Tomb Raider games of recent memory have been quite good. And, it's been kind of amazing because someone like Sonic from the old days, where you see them trying again and again and again to reinvent Sonic and then go back to what worked. And it makes you feel like we've all heard those stories about people saying how Sonic needs to go away. And Square Enix has successfully reinvented, Lara Croft and the Tomb Raider franchise, which was on the original PlayStation back in the mid-90s. And for them to be able to do that, it's just quite incredible. I definitely think that, Uncharted took from Tomb Raider, but also even the little bit that I played from the Tomb Raider reboot, it seems like they took some from Uncharted. And it's funny how those franchises kind of fed off each other, especially how everyone described Uncharted as Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider.
Well, that's exactly that's how I thought it was. It was, Uncharted out Tomb Raider, and then Tomb Raider reinvents itself and kind of take...
Don't you dare say out Uncharted.
No, they didn't out Uncharted, but they took some of the ideas that Uncharted implemented and used it in their game.
Which is never a bad thing. Obviously, that is what has made so many successful games within the game industry, is that people iterate and iterate and iterate, and then other people borrow from those ideas or those mechanics and implement in their games, often improving the mechanics
on it,
and help improving their games. Sorry, Roberto, what was that?
Oh, I didn't say anything. But just to inject with Tomb Raider and stuff, I think that's I think the only real thing that we have to be concerned of is the game going to exist merely to support the movie? Is it going to be tied in, or is it going to be its own new big installment coming off the second Tomb Raider game?
If Square Enix is smart, and I believe there have been rumors that the new Tomb Raider game is going to be called, sorry, let me pull up the article here.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Yes, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. What is the movie just going to be called Tomb Raider?
Yes. It's going to be based off, sorry to cut you off, but it's going to be based off the first Lara Croft's, the 2013 one.
So for them to kind of base this game off a game they've already made, and the movie based on that game, kind of it'd be almost like them making a game or rebooting the series midway through and kind of erasing Rise of the Tomb Raider. Okay, hold on, maybe that didn't make sense. So the movie's going to be based on the game from 2013, so it would make most sense for them to make a direct sequel to Rise of the Tomb Raider with this new one. Because if they're going to be basing this game off the movie, they're basically basing it off the first game in the series, which makes no sense.
Right. I mean, just to put things into a bit of a perspective, I know this is a different company, just thinking about it, but in 2010, this was the last Prince of Persia game we saw, as a matter of fact. There was a Prince of Persia video game called Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands. And it was actually, fortunately, it was not necessarily tied into the movie coming out that year with Jake Gyllenhaal. It was a standalone game, but it was made kind of to help promote both the game and the film. It was actually an integral with between the first Prince of Persia video game and Prince of Persia Warrior Within. So part of me thinks, hopefully it's not going to be so much like that. Not that Forgotten Sands was bad. It was actually made using the Assassin's Creed engine. The combat was really good, but it was like, it's a game that you can dedicate to a week to, and then you platinum it. That was actually one of my platinum trophies for back in the day. And so hopefully this new Tomb Raider is nothing like that. Like, hopefully it's just we timed it so that it would help ride the wave of the movie without it being based on the movie and having like those kind of issues.
I don't think it's a bad idea to drum up support with either a movie or a game, but I think in this situation where we can clearly see, we can state confidently that, they've seen such success with these games that they're going to do a direct sequel to Rise of the Tomb Raider instead of trying to tie this in directly to the movie.
See, I would prefer to see, I've already played the reboot and as I said, I loved it. I would prefer to see the movie not base their story off the reboot, but just do a totally different story.
So basically, Yield, you don't want to see the same story again because you've already played through it. You want to see something completely different.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not opposed to a Tomb Raider movie, Lara Croft. Just do your own story. If you want to collaborate with the writers of the games and have like items from the game's past or nods towards this or that environment or what happened, those little Easter eggs, that's really cool because you're in the same universe, but just do something totally new.
I think we can all respect that. And I think we can always respect when a developer and publisher decide to delay a game in order to make it better and spend more time developing it. Ubisoft has announced that Far Cry 5 and The Crew 2 have both been delayed. Far Cry 5 will come out a month later than it was scheduled on March 27th of next year, and The Crew will be released sometime in the first half of 2018-2019 fiscal year, rather than March 16th, 2018. So, from the article on IGN, I just kind of want to clear for, because calendar years and fiscal years don't always meet up.
No.
Well, they never meet up. But fiscal years run from April 1st, 2018 to March 1st, 2019, March 31st, 2019. So the game would fall supposedly somewhere in the first half of that year. So between up to 6 months from the original release date.
Which I'm fine with that, only because one, I'm fine with developers coming out and going, we need to polish the game a little bit more. And also, both of those series are in my backlog to pick up and play, so it just gives me more time to get to them. But Alex and I were talking before we recorded. It's almost becoming common for a developer to come out and go, "Hey, our game is releasing December of 2017." And then we roll to about August or October, maybe not even that close, and we go, you know what? We're going to push it back. It's like, well, you know what? Don't give me a set release date. Give me a window. And then when you get into that window, you can either set a firm release date or go, you know what? We need to widen this window a little bit because we're not quite there. Because anymore anybody
So-
sees a firm release date, and what do we all go? That's going to get delayed.
Yeah, I mean, 2K Games is kind of, well, I shouldn't say notorious, but they are known to pull back their games if necessary. You know, with Red Dead Redemption and the Bioshock series, we've all seen delays for those. And it's always worked out well for them because they just make really good games, or they release really good games. So I've always been of the mind where if you need more time to make a game, then make the game. Yield, you might have to if you need more time to make the game great, take the time to make the game great. And Yield, you might need to help me with this, because I think that you've quoted this on the show before. I believe it was a Nintendo executive, and maybe it was Shigeru Miyamoto, where he said a bad game is forever. I believe that was Shigeru.
Yeah, a bad game is forever. So we've said this before on the show, just like you just said, Alex, is that none of us have a problem if you pull the game and you've found flaws in your game that you need to address, and if we launch it, if we won't be able to fix it before launch, so we need to push back the launch so that way we can fix it. None of us have a problem with that. But if you rush a game and have issues with it, it's hard to recover those initial sales because everybody has a bad taste in their mouths. I point to a game recently that I was somewhat interested in, Raid, World War II. It's a shooter, World War II shooter made by the people, I'm drawing a blank on the developer, but people who made, why am I drawing a blank on that? Payday.
Right, Starbreeze and Overkill Software.
Yeah, and I was like, awesome, World War II, that's my genre. What I saw of gameplay trailers and some demos that people were doing, oh, this looks like fun. And when it launched, I guess from some of the reviews I've read and people commenting from other sites, is that it bombed. It, like, even the patch didn't fix it. And it's just like, oh, like, I wanted to buy it because it looks so cool, but everybody says it's broke. And that hesitates me from buying something that genre is in my wheelhouse.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, one bad game doesn't just hurt that game, it can hurt that series, because sometimes, like, series and trilogies are planned in advance, and if you do really well the first game, and then the second game doesn't do so damn well, chances are that third game's not going to get made, and a lot of times, that studio might be shut the fuck down completely. I mean, we're still, I'm sure we're still all hurting from Visceral Games being shut down by EA, not necessarily for the same reasons that we're talking about, but it still sucks to have that much money involved and so much writing on that game to get to score well, but more importantly, to sell well.
Scores don't always mean anything, but the selling does.
Yeah. So I will say that, it may cost you money. It will cost you money to delay a game, but it'll cost you a lot more to release a really shitty game. And that has... And for, like, as long as I can remember, like, writing about games, 2K Games has always been very careful about that and has, it's like, you know what, we need to delay this game, we're going to delay this game. You're going to buy it anyway. So. Yeah,
and I played the Far Cry 5 and The Crew 2 at PAX West this year. Far Cry 5, I can admit, one thing that turned me off about the demo was I was actually in a aerial combat segment. And so there's like a guy trying to shoot me down with the machine guns, and this was cool. Like, I had actually taken back a town, driven to an airport, refueled a plane. They had gotten some makeshift bombs, and we threw them on some kind of plantation or something. So it was pretty badass. And then it's like this guy was coming after me with a plane, and it was the classic Far Cry where I bumped into him midair. And I managed to, regain, control, but I, severely had damaged him. And I'm like, that's lame. I won the demo, but it's like, I wanted to shoot him. I wanted to circle and then shoot the damn guy down. I didn't want to just have something like a game glitch like that happen where I, bumped into him. I literally bumped into a plane in midair. So, I was a little bit, taken aback by that. And then The Crew 2, it was pretty fun. I just think, it's just I think they just have a lot more to add, especially because it's a very interconnected game. it was kind of cool being able to literally morph from racing in a plane to racing in a car to racing in a boat and to racing in a dirt bike, like instantly, similar to Driver San Francisco, if anybody remembers that game. So it was actually pretty neat, but at the same time, I think it could have used a little more work. So probably for the crew, I think that the delay is actually pretty good. Far Cry 5, I think the delay is pretty good. I hope they work on that. I'm pretty excited for Far Cry 5, especially because, I loved 3. 4 was, story-wise, was alright. Gameplay-wise was fun. And then Blood Dragon, I honestly wish they just had opened another studio and just focused on that. Like a Blood Dragon Assassin's Creed. Like, holy shit. But, so I'm happy to see Far Cry 5 return for the first time since 2014.
Instead of more zombie games, we need to see more games in the 80s. I want the neon sex of the 1980s.
Especially Blood Dragon, because that was a game that just got parodies or satire done extremely well. You had, from the product descriptions to the characters to the cutscenes, there's so much that went well with Blood Dragon, and I just wish that we saw more of that, and all that stuff. The 80s were a time of dreams, they were a time of imagination, they were a time of larger-than-life characters and over-the-top action. As a matter of fact, as a coincidence, as we talk about this, another Ready Player One trailer dropped, and it showcased Chun-Li, Tracer from Overwatch, and Mobile Suit Gundam being in the movie now. So it's just but then it also showcased Joust and and I think the robots from Robotron 2084 in there, and it's just, I think that the 80s were just a big pulsating imaginative decade within human history, so it would be nice to see more of that taken advantage of, not just the color and the flamboyance, but just the cultural meanings of it all.
Careful when you're tossing around a word like pulsating on Trophy Wars. Use it wisely. Well, after hearing some of these numbers that Sony is tossing out now, I'm sure Tricky Mick will be pulsating somewhere. So, Sony has released sales numbers, as in sold to customers, for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation VR. So the PlayStation 4, and I'm pulling this from an article on IGN, Sony has now sold more than 70.6 million units worldwide for the PlayStation 4 as of December 3rd, while the PlayStation VR has surpassed 2 million units sold worldwide. More than 617.8 million copies of PS4 games and over 12.2 million units of PSVR titles have been sold as December 3rd. So that's digital and retail. So the people who love disc and physical copies and the people who love digital copies and just the convenience of downloading, married in one happy place. I will point out, doing some quick math here, that tells you that based on the amount of the copies of the games, and you divide that into the number of consoles sold, or you divide the consoles sold into the number of games. Fuck, I think my math is off. God damn it. I was trying to do fucking math, and I fucked myself up. This is why I write. This is why I write and talk. This is not why I don't do math. So hold on, someone talk about these sales, if they're impressive or not, while I try to figure out if my math statement was actually correct before I look like a jackass.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's funny. That's all I can do is laugh.
And I will leave that in the show.
Oh. Well, they are impressive numbers, but they're numbers. You know what you can do with numbers. You can make anything look good. I'm surprised you got 2 million PSVR sales, but that's just because I feel that the VR is a niche thing, like the Move. So,
yeah, where only people like Tricky go out and buy it.
Pretty much.
PlayStation did what? I'm gonna go buy that. Yeah. Sony released a fart in a jar. I gotta go buy that. So, doing the math, that, doing the average, every PlayStation 4 owner has bought, on average, almost 9 games, 8.8 games, both at digital and at retail.
I would say that is accurate.
And the math for the VR is a little bit easier, but it's about 6 games, 6 PlayStation VR games for everyone who owns a PSVR. So, which, given how old the PlayStation 4 is, I don't know if not. It seems like 9 games for this point in the console's life cycle is a little bit small.
And how long has the 4 been out now?
Since 2013.
So we've got about 4 years. That's
4 years.
2 games per year. That seems really, really small because I myself have bought Horizon Zero Dawn this year, and I got Crash Bandicoot. I bought Uncharted The Lost Legacy, as well as Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. So that's 4 games right there.
Well, let's see. Not counting downloaded stuff. See, I've gotten Horizon. I got Road Trooper Redo. Everybody's Golf. Uncharted Lost Legacy. Bulletstorm. I know I'm missing another disc somewhere. But that's just what I've picked up this year.
I've lost count.
Oh.
With what I've picked up.
Roberto, I've lost count of how many games you played this week.
4.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. But, I mean, even just this week, you're doing better than most people in a year. So, all right, well, what we're going to do is we're going to move on to our last 2 topics, and they're kind of intertwined because it's a beloved Capcom franchise celebrating its 30th anniversary, and we're not talking about Street Fighter. So, in some rather big news for the old school side-scrolling platforming fans, Capcom has announced that Mega Man X through Mega Man X8 will be coming to the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC next year, which means you can finally not pay $2 million for a copy of Mega Man X2 or X3, which is amazing.
Which makes you a very happy trophy hunter.
Yes, because I have wanted to play. I've never played those games. I've played X, Mega Man X4, Mega Man X5, and Mega Man X6, but I've never played X2 and X3. So this is fantastic news for me. I'm more excited about that than I am about the other Mega Man news that has come our way.
And I was interested, pleased with that news coming our way, even with the little trailer that they showed.
Well, they've done the Legacy collections, and they've announced that those will be coming, both of them, to the Switch as well. But the Legacy collections, they cover the 8-bit style games as well as 7 and 8, but they stop at 10, so you don't get any of the X games on any of those. And I was waiting for them to release those, but I guess we're just going to get them released piecemeal or one by one on the network, which is fine with me.
Oh, they're not releasing them as a disc bundle?
I mean, from the article that I read, hold on, let me look it up.
Well, no, I didn't read the article. I just saw little snippets over the weekend pop up that said that it was coming, that the X collection was coming. I thought, awesome.
I mean, no, it just says they will be available for all current-gen consoles and PC sometime in summer of 2018. It does not say how they'd be delivered, but from what I read in the article, it led me to believe that they would just be released on say, Mega Man X3 was released on the PlayStation 3. You could buy the old-school Mega Man games on the 3, not as a collection, well, as part of the Legacy collection, but they also released them beforehand, like the Japanese versions, singly. As their own.
I cannot imagine them not releasing the X collection on a disc. I think it would be a great bundle. It sounds like the Legacy collections have been a good success for Capcom, and I can't imagine if they're going to release it a la carte because of the fact that this is, I think, perhaps a little more. This is more the revered sections of Mega Man. Like, the X games, I think, are games that almost everybody has played. I have extremely fond memories of the first Mega Man X, so I can't wait to go back and kick everyone's ass in that game again. I used to be able to almost beat the game in one sitting, except for the fact that there's, the boss at the end, which had this, it looked like a giant face, and it was shooting, red, orbs at you or something. I can never get past that. So I was never able to finish the game properly. So now I get to
A little tip for you, sir.
what?
Go after Chill Penguin first.
Yeah. No. Well, the robot lords weren't bad. I used to kill the penguin, and then I used to work, I think, my way counterclockwise. I remember each time I killed the penguin. But then at the end, I think when you face Omega or whatever, the big general guy, like you select the middle of the screen, and it's a whole different level. And yeah, I don't. All I remember was a giant face in the background. And the eyes were firing some kind of orbs at you. And this is after you get all the X upgrades. I couldn't get past that. So that's gonna be really cool. And then funny story with Mega Man X2. A couple of years ago, I was searching in my just chilling, like trying to clear out my car trunk, and I came across a colored Guatemalan bag, and I unzipped it, and I found an SNES cartridge of Mega Man X2. Now it didn't have the cardboard, it didn't have the instruction manual, but it had the protective sleeve on the bottom of the cartridge, so the pins were protected, and the cartridge looked in great shape. So I went to a retro family store nearby called East Coast Gamers in Toms River. I gave them the cartridge, and they resold it for $100, and somebody bought it. Yeah.
Resold it. Oh, Alex is gonna kick your butt.
Yeah, for more than one thing. But yeah, so the Mega Man, we don't know how the Mega Man X games are going to be released. It just says they're going to be released on the network. So I'm assuming they're going to release them one by one. But I could be wrong about that.
Either way,
any
Alex
other big
is
news?
buying all 8.
Oh no, I'm not touching X7 or X8. And I played X6, so no thank you to that one. You know what? I'll buy X2 and X3, and I'm probably good.
Wait, X7 and 8 are bad?
You know what? I never played them. They didn't look good.
Oh, okay.
And I don't hear good things about them. Because, you know, my assumption is kind of based on not only, like, reviews, but also the fact that the Mega Man X games after 4 went down in quality very noticeably. I mean, X5 was still fun and had some cool Mavericks in it, but the quality just wasn't there anymore. So, that's kind of the reason that I say that. The other big news to come out of the Mega Man 30th anniversary is that Mega Man 11 is coming. But it will not be like Mega Man 9 and 10, which were 8-bit homages to the series back on the NES. So it's going to be a 2D, 2.5D style, hand-drawn...
Mighty Number 9 ripoff.
What?
Mighty Number 9 ripoff.
Okay, well, Mighty Number 9 itself was a ripoff of Mega Man.
Which...
Well, yeah, technically, Mighty Number 9 was made by the same guy that made Mega Man.
Yes, Keiji Inafune made Mighty Number 9, and he also was the creator of Mega Man. That's true. But
my joke was being that Mega Man 11 is what Mighty Number 9 should have been.
You interrupted my spiel with a shitty joke.
And which, by the way, with all the trophy horror guys out there who's listening, there's a lot of you out there. Please do us a favor, give Keiji Inafune a call, just like check up on him, see how he's doing, because I can imagine he's not feeling good in light of all this. I mean, he left Capcom to make a spiritual successor to Mega Man, winds up being one of the biggest disappointments of 2016, and also with one of the most embarrassing PR trailers in history, where the bad guys will make you cry like an anime fan on prom night, if you recall. And then they just decide, you know what, we're going to make a Mega Man 11. So I imagine he can't be doing too good. I hope.
You know, I'm going to say, well, I'll say this: if I made Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3, I would trumpet that shit for the rest of my life. So yes, we have officially been joined by the biggest whore we all know. It's Tricky Mick.
Yeah, I kind of interrupted before. I'm going to leave everything before we synced up to end the show, so that's all going to play in.
So we are going to move on, unless Tricky wants to say anything about Mega Man before we go.
No, like I was saying before, it's a shame that, Mighty Number 9 should have been Mega Man 11. And they shouldn't have had to Mighty Number 9 should never had to exist. If we're going to get a Mega Man 11, then this is what the game should have been. And Mighty Number 9, the whole travesty with what that happened, and well, I don't know if travesty is the right word, but the whole drama behind it should never existed. If we're going to get a Mega Man 11 and it's going to look pretty much like Mighty Number 9 does, then, well, I guess I'm just looking at the fact of what could have been.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful because of the fact that Capcom did hint a couple of months ago that they were trying to resurrect their old IPs again. And maybe after a decade of having a lot of issues, a checkered history for the last 10 years, with bringing some of these IPs back, perhaps maybe now they feel confident enough that they're going to really, deliver something that generates a true impact of the Mega Man franchise. I mean, maybe they were looking at what happened with Mighty Number 9. They said, maybe deep down, I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but maybe they said, you know what? This is pretty crappy. I mean, we can't have this legacy, even though it's not called Mega Man. We can't have.
But it was Mega Man,
right? But what I mean is, we can't have the legacy be tainted like this. Just let's maybe, you know what? There was, despite the fact that it was a flop, there was anticipation for this game to be some kind of a successor. So maybe we should just get back into the field ourselves and just get back into it. So maybe there's a chance that if it's not going to be great, it's going to be at least good. Now me, I have to get back into the Mega Man craze to begin with. I have both Legacy collections, I just haven't played them, and just really get back into the art of what makes these games so great. So that's come from my angle. And like I said, I mean, when you look at Capcom the last 10 years, I'm sure there was a lot of bad pains, but maybe they're poised right now. I mean, some of the things I was thinking about all week that they went through, 2008, the Super Street Fighter DLC controversy, 2009, the failure of the Bionic Commando remake. Not Bionic Commando Rearm, but there was a third-person Bionic Commando game. That was actually, I liked it, but, it didn't do so hot sales-wise. The failure of Lost Planet 2, the underwhelming success of Lost Planet 3, the controversies with Devil May Cry 2013, just to name a few there. And maybe now they, and then KJ Inafune being his departure being kind of a setback too. Maybe now they've just decided that this is, we just got to get back into the rhythm in the game here.
Capcom has been fucking up for a long time. Let's be honest about that. It's probably a good thing that they gave DMC to Ninja Theory, because they probably would have fucked that up too.
Right, like I said, with the fourth game, you had a highly anticipated action title for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and unfortunately, it wound up being it was not bad, but it wasn't great. It had very redundant level design, so there was that. And then the other things I mentioned were pretty gaping too. For example, the DLC controversy with Street Fighter, that was something that was very, very negatively received, which, if you recall, Street Fighter had DLC locked onto the disc, and you had to pay for it, and that was kind of seen as a controversy at the time that, when DLC was being invented. Then, of course, 2009, you had Bionic Commando, which was a third-person interpretation sequel of Bionic Commando Rearmed, and unfortunately, the game was good, but it was right at launch, the game went to $20.
Here's the thing about Capcom, and we'll move on from this after this. But Capcom has essentially been living off, or they are living off, their longtime franchise at this point. You look at Mega Man, and you look at Street Fighter. Mega Man was introduced in the 80s. Street Fighter was popular in the arcades in the early 90s. And then you've got, well, I guess they still have Dead Rising.
Yeah.
But, Dead Rising is, came out in the original Xbox. Wasn't it on the original Xbox?
Yes.
No, it's the Xbox.
360. No, it was
360.
Yeah.
So, I guess that's a recent success that they've had. And Monster Hunter. Okay, I forgot about Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter is also a big part of their success. But it seems like with a lot of what they're doing, it's just so based in the past. And DMC is another example where they keep re-releasing Devil May Cry. They came out for the PlayStation 3, now they're coming out with the PlayStation 4. It seems like so much of their success comes from the past as opposed to stuff they've introduced recently.
And as we know, everyone's bitching at Nintendo. It's like, until like Splatoon and ARMS, everyone's like, well, why aren't you creating new franchises? Where's the next Pikmin? Well, who the fuck is talking to Capcom and saying, where are your new franchises? Why the fuck do we have to play Street Fighter every fucking year and buy like a new edition and get... That's an entire can of worms we don't need to get into, because fucking Street Fighter has been a thorn in everyone's side. Even people who like Street Fighter bitch about how they get treated by Capcom and all the money they have to spend on Street Fighter just to play as the characters they want to play, and yet they still fucking buy it. So, like, I mean, let's be honest, that's probably why Street Fighter is that way, because Capcom can't make fucking money off new games.
Right. I'd say that's a fair reasoning. But like you said, like they've been really relying on more established franchises that, you know, and then Street Fighter, because of course, like, you know, that has a big plug in esports and competitiveness and things of that sort. So, like I said, it's just they've had a bit of a checkered history in the last 10 years. So hopefully we'll see if any of that gets corrected and rectified with the release of Mega Man. I mean, now the stakes are high. I mean, this is Mega Man after all. If they blow this, then we might see a really significant downscaling of Capcom in terms of what they can produce. Like, maybe that they'll just stick to Monster Hunter and Street Fighter, and that's it. Like, we won't ever see an update of 1943 or Commando or any other arcade classics, which I'd like to see happen too. So,
1943, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, like they had one on the PS3, and it was okay, but I would love to see.
We're certainly not seeing any more Sega Rally or Virtua Fighter.
Yeah, I would.
No Echo the Dolphin for us.
Oh my gosh, why hasn't Sega?
Oh wait, shit. That's all fucking Sega games.
Yep.
What the fuck am I talking about?
Okay, I thought you were joking. You were really convinced. Oh shit.
No, I just had a fucking brain fart there. I'm dumb as hell. Okay. Here, you know what? Darkstalkers. There is a legitimate Capcom franchise that I forgot about and should have said. Got Sega on the brain. Bullshit.
Well,
and we start off on such a high with Mega Man, and now we ought to... You know what? There's only one thing. Like after a bad day of work and coming home to listen to some Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac, there's only one thing that can bring me up after this low of confusing Capcom and Sega. And that's this week's Sophie's Trophies with our good buddy Sid. Take it away, Sid.
Hey guys, how you all doing? Sid again, back with Sophie's Trophies episode 20. Hope you're all doing okay. I'm going to get straight into it this week, guys. The game I have chosen to talk about is the recent PS Plus game, Darksiders 2. The game came onto PS Plus this week. I love this game. You play Death, brother of War, who was in the first Darksiders game. The reason I'm talking about this game is because it beat me on the PS3. I did not get the platinum on it. I got to 95% of the trophies. But before I explain why, let's have a little look at some of the trophies in there. The platinum is BFA, not sure what that stands for. It's Unlock Everything. Now, the other day it was a 0.9 ultra rare trophy. Today it's down to 0.8. I'm guessing that's because a lot of people have downloaded it, because I'm imagining the trophies are based on who's got it, who's downloaded it, who's played it, and various factors like that. Okay, the thing I can tell you about this game is most of the trophies are through beating certain bosses, doing quests and things like that. I think there are a total of about 17 side quests in this game, all for finding various things like the Book of the Dead pages for Vulgrim. You find all of those, you get the trophy for that, but that also unlocks the special vaults around the game, and you get a trophy for unlocking all 4 of those. So some of the trophies are tied to other trophies. So most of the trophies on this trophy list are hidden, so let's have a look at some of the ones that aren't. Complete the game on Apocalyptic, which is a true horseman. One I found yesterday looks familiar, Collect Redemption, which is Death's Gun. I completed one of the quests last night, which is Fire of the Mountain. Quite an easy one, that, the first quest, or the first major quest anyway. trophy for completing all secondary quests. Grim Reaping, unlock the Reaper form. The secondary quests is an ultra rare, that's a 1.2. I'm going to talk about that one because the collectibles in this game are ridiculous. There are something like 128 different collectibles, and there are no trackers in game to collect or to show you what you're collecting. The best way I've found to do this is basically print out a list of what is where. I'm going to open this drawer I've got here, and I have a list, so bear with me if you hear the rustling. I got this list off PSN Profiles, and I'll just give you a quick look at it. The first set of levels is the Forge Lands, and it's got Tristone at the Maker's Forge, 1 collectible. And then under that it says Stonebite 1, which is a Mystic Stonebite. The Ford, 6 collectibles. Page of the Dead pages, 2. Stonebites, 4. Stonebites are little stones you have to shoot. There are 3 different types. There's Mystic, Power and Resistance, and you give them to a character once you've collected them, and he upgrades your base stats. So yeah, if you're going to collect things in this game, guys, print something out, give yourself a list, and cross off whenever you find something. It makes it a hell of a lot easier, otherwise you'll be searching forever. Another trophy, 1.3 Ultra Rare, Bravo Old Chap, defeat Wicked K. Now he is at the end of the I've forgotten what it's called. 100 wave section of the game that opens up later on in the game as you find cards. You unlock 25 levels at a time. There you go. Sorry guys. Is there anyone else? That's another ultra rare. That's Complete the Crucible, which is the 100 wave level I was just talking about. For some reason I completely forgot the name. Right, so the trophies I missed on the last go through of this game are basically defeat Wicked K and complete the Crucible, because well, basically I was an idiot. I sold a load of weapons. You pick up weapons in this game as loot drops. There are different tiers, different colours, purple being possessed weapons which you can feed other weapons to make them stronger. Each weapon has different stats like health drain or fire or various things like that. And I got rid of all the good ones. And it made the Crucible just a little bit too hard for me, to be fair. You know, I didn't have any decent weapons to do what I needed to do. So this time round I'm going to be very, very safe and not sell any weapons with a decent stat to them. So that's a bit of advice for you on that one. There you go, 2 bits of advice: make a list and don't sell your good stuff. So the general game itself follows Death trying to free his brother War, like I said from the first game. Plays like a pretty much a standard 3D adventure game, with the loot thrown in it. So, you know, I think they kind of got that from games like Borderlands and MMOs. It's a big game, a very long game. It will take many hours to complete. I'm not going to tell you too much about it because I think people should just play it. But that's just a couple of tips for some of the trophies which can be a little bit annoying in this game, because if you don't have a list to write down what you found, you're just going to be looking forever, because it is a huge game. But overall, I love this game. You know, I'm very, very annoyed that I didn't get the platinum on the PS3. I sold my PS3 to a friend at work before I actually finished it. I was on that section. I'd done it about 4 or 5 times, and it was annoying me. And somebody wanted my PS3, so I was like, okay, because I knew it was on the PS4 anyway. So yeah, I think good game, well worth playing, really worth playing now it's free. You know, I think it's a really, really good deal to get on that. Oh, one other trophy to talk about. This is a new trophy for this game. It's an ultra rare again, on 1.2, and it's called It's Definitive. And it's complete the game on Definitive Edition. Really strange word to say that. Which is the new difficulty. There's apocalyptic difficulty, and then there's definitive, which has been added for this version of the game because they got rid of some of the online functionality of the game. So that's what I'm playing through on. It is quite a bit harder by the looks of it, and when I do the Crucible, I will probably knock it down to easy to do the Crucible, but not before I have everything else. So yeah, that's it for this week, guys. Hope that just gives you a little taster of that game. Well worth playing, and I can't wait for Darksiders 3. So yeah, as always, if you want to get in touch with me, Sidders1978 on the PSN, Sid at Proven Gamer on the email, or through the Trophy Whores Facebook group. I don't go on Twitter that much, so I'm not going to give my Twitter handle out really. I'll do it one last time now. It's at Sydney. But from now on, I'm not really going to use it because I don't use Twitter that much. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Hope that was okay this week, and keep getting those trophies. Bye.
And we're back, which means Tricky is taking over for me because I've been talking entirely too much.
All right, so our topic of the week this week, we're going to go into our winners and losers from our predictions. Quickly going over the predictions, our good man Sid, who you just heard from with Sophie's Trophies, he sent in the results of our predictions. Gentlemen, are you ready?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, starting with Roberto. Roberto's first prediction, Borderlands 3 will get a tease. He said, no word, 0 points. Second prediction, 343 will tease the next Halo. No Halo teased, 0 points. Number 3, Sony will unveil a new shooter, likely a Killzone or possibly resurrecting an old IP like SOCOM. He says firewall shooter for PSVR. He gave you a point.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Nintendo will bring in a new exclusive. I'd have to guess F-Zero. He said didn't happen, 0 points. Your fifth prediction was Hitman will tease a season 2. Nothing on this, 0 points. And your crazy prediction was your crazy prediction was Siphon Filter will return as a new exclusive from Sony, a sequel to the PSP classic Siphon Filter Logan Shadow, in which the game ended on a cliffhanger. The game will be handed by a new studio. He said nope, 0 points. So Roberto, you got a total of 1 point.
Yay! 1 is the loveliest number. First is the worst, second
Matt.
is the best.
It's better than half a point.
Yeah.
Matt, who's not here to hear this, but he'll hear this when the show releases. His first prediction, Bloodborne 2 teaser trailer release window, 2018. Sid says, teaser trailer, more likely Bloodborne, half a point. So, I know you guys talked about the teaser trailer earlier, but Sid gave you a half a point there, Matt, for that. Second prediction, Last of Us gameplay, Ellie or Joel will show up, not shown, 0 points. Number 3, Cyberpunk 2077 trailer gameplay and release window. No word, 0 points. Fourth prediction, Death Stranding gameplay trailer not pre-rendered in-engine shown, but pre-rendered, half a point. Red Dead Redemption 2 multiplayer reveal, GTA Online but with horses, brah, not shown, 0 points. And his crazy prediction was Telltale's games, Stranger Things, sad but no, 0 points. Now, Sid did put half a point, but I guess I don't know why he didn't add the 2 up, but Matt got 1 point. Yield, you ready for yours, sir?
Sure. Let's laugh at this one.
First one, Days Gone will have a reveal trailer, gameplay or CG, and will have a release date. Not shown, 0 points.
Yes.
Last of Us 2 will close the show with gameplay trailer and a firm release date. Not shown, 0 points.
Batting 1,000.
Spider-Man will have gameplay trailer with a release date, sometime Q2, Q3. Not shown, 0 points.
Yes.
Red Dead Redemption will have a new trailer with a release window of May to August 2018. Not shown, 0 points. Quantic Dream will show more on Detroit Become Human with a release date given. Shown, played, coming out spring 2018, 1 point.
Yes. Not scoreless.
That's That's very liberal there, Sid. I don't know if I would have gave him that one.
Wow. Are you questioning Sid?
He is questioning Sid.
Well, I've already questioned Sid on Matt's too, so.
What are you doing? Why don't you just piss on Sid? Good Lord.
I'm not pissed. I already discussed this with Sid.
When you won last time, the E3 predictions, you stood by Sid solid as a rock, and now you're questioning him.
I've already discussed this all with Sid in private chat. Yield, your bonus prediction. Insomniac Games will announce either a new Ratchet & Clank game, a new series with the future series, or the next game in a rebooted series. Nope, 0 points. Yield, a total of 1 point.
Hey, I'm tied for first.
Steven, first prediction. Ghost of Tsushima will be single player only, no online multiplayer of any kind, not shown, 0 points. Spider-Man will get a release date November 2018, no release date, 0 points. Dreams will be revealed and free to play. A new trailer, not free to play, half a point. PSVR's Black Friday price drop will be the new price. Bundles will now be $2.99 instead of $3.99. No price drop or new price, 0 points. Spyro Remastered announced. Unfortunately, not 0 points. Bonus prediction. PlayStation All-Stars 2 announced. Nope, 0 points. Total, Steven, half point. Tricky. God of War shown. Release date 2018. Shown, but no release date. Half a point. Virtual Console is coming to Switch in 2018. No info. 0 points. Death Stranding will be shown at Game Awards, and a new celeb will be in it. Trailer shown, but no new celebrity. Half a point. Number 4, name changes are coming. Coming next year, 1 point. Ghost of Tsushima is shown at PSX with more choices detailed, not shown, 0 points. And my crazy prediction, Days Gone is shown, and it's released today, not shown, 0 points. So total, Tricky, 2 points.
How is that a crazy prediction?
That Days Gone is shown, and it's released today?
Yeah, its release was right now.
Oh, I thought you were just saying the release date was announced that day.
I think that we may never see that again after what happened to the Sega Saturn.
You mean the Dreamcast.
No, the Saturn was released the same day that it was announced at E3 all those years ago.
But wasn't the Dreamcast also announced on 9/9/99, shortly after E3?
Okay, that part I'm not too familiar with, but I know the Saturn is that they said, "Oh, it's available today," which was it was a really bad way to introduce a new system to developers because it was a pain in the ass to develop on. And of course, they suddenly said, "Oh shit, it's available today. We got to scramble and get our games going." So, yeah, it was kind of not the best thing to do. So I don't think that's ever going to happen. As for the Dreamcast thing, I'm not too familiar. The
Dreamcast was released in North America on September 9th, 1999.
Correct. I don't know when the release date was announced. I guess at E3.
Well, E3 is typically at the end of August, early September, so...
No, it's in June.
June?
Yeah. It's the first weekend of June.
I'm thinking of PAX.
Yeah.
What? Where the fuck is my brain? I'm not even drinking.
It's on vacation.
Alex, tell us about Extra Life.
So, you may be asking yourself, what is the total amount of money raised for Extra Life 2017 for the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals?
And I can tell you that we have gone bigger this year, bigger than last year. The total raise for Extra Life 2017 has surpassed $10 million.
What?
And I think Yep. 10 mil. And so anyone who participated or anyone who spread the word of Extra Life, give yourself a little pat on the back. The important thing that you need to know is that you can still donate to Extra Life through the end of the year. So you can go to extra-life.org to donate to your favorite player, your favorite team. You can still help raise more money for the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. And again, we will remind everyone, 100% of your donation goes to the Children's Miracle Network Hospital that is being represented by the person that you are donating to. And what's more, your donation is a tax write-off. So, do it. Go do it. Through the end of the year, extra-life.org. I might want to say that slower so people can actually get it in there. Type in your address bar, extra-life.org. Go donate some money and help some sick kids. The motto for Extra Life is
play games, heal kids. It's the perfect win-win situation. So until next year, when Extra Life 2018 kicks off, help raise a little bit more money to jack up that 10 mil.
And I want to give two special shout-outs here. One, because we raised, I say we, because Extra Life has raised $10 million this year. Since its start in 2008, Extra Life has raised over $40 million total over the years. And I want to give a special shout-out to Los Angeles Rams offensive guard Roger Safford, who was one of 20 people who wore cleats in Week 3 of this NFL season in support of the Children's Medical Network hospitals. But Roger Safford himself wore blue cleats with the Extra Life logos on them as he played the game. He donated them to charity. He auctioned them off and then donated the money from those proceeds to help raise money for the cause. So I want to give a special shout out to him. Our next sponsor is Amazon. If you could and would, each and every time you do your shopping on Amazon, stop by Proving Gamer first, click on any Amazon link, and continue with your normal shopping. It doesn't cost you anything extra and does help out the site tremendously. And if you do shop on Amazon and you are Amazon Prime, please know that you can go over to twitch.tv/Proving Gamer and become a Twitch Prime member, in which you are able to subscribe for free once a month. Yes, you do have to renew it every single month, but you can go to the Twitch page and subscribe to your favorite streamers. If you don't subscribe to somebody, you're just throwing away the money. It's free money. It doesn't cost you anything extra. So go support your favorite streamer, and we just hope that's us if you choose to go over to Proving Gamer and do twitch.tv/Proving Gamer to do that for us. And our last sponsor is our Patreon. We are trying to raise money to keep the lights on here, pay the staff, whatnot. So if you could and would, find your way over to patreon.com/Proving Gamer and donate what you can. I was asked to point out that it is a monthly subscription, so once you sign up for, say, $5, it does charge you $5 a month every month until you cancel it. You could raise it up, you can lower it, you can cancel it anytime. It does not matter, but I was asked to point that out because somebody who signed up for the Patreon didn't realize that it wasn't a one-time thing. It was a monthly subscription, so I was asked to point that out. But with that being said, let's close out the show with some shout-outs.
So, all right. First and foremost, I want to thank the listeners for being awesome and joining us every week despite the ejaculation jokes. We don't do them very often, so, but when we do, it rains down. But thank you, listeners. You guys are the fuel to this fire that we call Trophy Horse, the gasoline. Without you all, we could not have Trophy Horse where it currently is. So I definitely appreciate you all, as I think I speak for everyone on the show, Roberto, Yield, and Tricky. Thank you all very much for setting aside some time away from your family, from your duties, from your responsibilities, just to spend it with us. It's very awesome of you. As always, thanks for the support. Shout out to Roberto, who is basically he's got a perfect attendance for Trophy Horse for the past 2 months. So thanks, Roberto, for coming on and talking some games with us. Yield, congratulations on the new home, moving in, playing some Mario Kart Double Dash, and happy birthday. Because your birthday was yesterday, correct?
Correct.
I don't believe I gave you a happy birthday, so happy birthday, sir.
Thank you.
Belated. I hope it was a wonderful get-together with the family.
It was.
And shout out to Tricky for hurrying home from work to join us.
Yeah, I was actually going to try to record from work, but it was just way too hectic, and there was a train going over my head every 5 minutes, so that would have destroyed the audio, so.
Yeah. Yes, it would have.
All right, Roberto, your shout out, sir.
All right, shout out to my whole family, and also shout out to everyone at Proven Gamer, Tricky, Andy, Joseph, Yield. Thank you very much for this opportunity to be on the show. I got a bunch of new Twitter followers this past week, so if they somehow come across this, just want to say thanks for tuning in. Of course, you can reach out to me there. I'm always sharing hashtag Screenshot Saturday posts and all that, and video clips. So thank you for that as well. Thank you for all that, and just a quick mention. I mentioned at the top of the broadcast that I mentioned that I was gonna go and sorry, I got distracted. Okay, that at the top of the broadcast I had gone to see The Disaster Artist. I just want to say kind of a thank you to that movie, because that movie was extremely inspiring. It's a movie based off the biopic. The biopic was written based off a movie called The Room. James Franco is Tommy Wiseau, and it's about how the movie was kind of made. But it's very funny and also extremely inspiring. Like I had to say that movie has given me like a new rekindling of what it is that what it is that we do and what we're doing here. So I'd encourage everybody to go see that if you can. And see The Room first, and then see The Disaster Artist. And trust me, you're gonna have a very good time with that.
All right, and I want to give a shout out to Alex first and foremost for taking the reins, as I was unable to do my hosting duties for the start of the show. Shout out to Yield. Thank you for coming back, dude. I didn't hear. Quick story. Your internet good now?
Yeah.
Can we do video cast?
No.
Damn it.
Yield does.
Is that because you don't?
Yields. Yeah. No.
So we just gotta save those for the special events.
There you go. You don't want to give them too much; they'll expect it.
That is true. Roberto, thank you for filling in. You weren't even supposed to be on today's show. You just showed up, which is awesome.
Oh, okay. You're welcome. Sure.
Yeah.
No. I don't mean that negatively.
We have a Trophy Horse group set up where like everyone that was included in the previous recording is in the room. So when I just like hit call Trophy Horse, it calls everybody, and I have to try to dash to hang up on people that aren't going to be in the call. But Roberto picked up, so it's like, hey, I'm recording.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'm making this a routine.
I don't mean that to be negative.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No,
I just meant it like.
No, it's okay. It's all good. I understand.
Yield, it's good to have you back, buddy. You just stirred up trouble.
That's right. That's what I do.
Shout out to the listeners. Shout out to Sweet Mama D, who, unfortunately, because it decided to snow in the Northeast, I wasn't able to spend time with. She came to my house while I was at work, and when I got home, she was sleeping. So I'm gonna go after I'm done recording. I'm gonna go give her a kiss and tell her I love her. Shout out to the goddess who took care of Sweet Mama D while I was at work, and shout out to the listeners. Without you guys, we probably wouldn't do this show every week.
Oh, of course, yeah, especially the listeners.
So if that's it, if there's nothing else, until next week, happy trophy hunting.
Later.
Peace out.
May the force be with you.
Save your last words, then read to me this. Save your last words. Save your last words, then read to me this. Save your last words, then read to me this. Save your last words, then read to me this. Save your last words, then read to me this.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12 Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.